collect, preserve. He was really involved in the art community and had a lot of friends and collaborated with a lot of people. So there's a lot of people in the area who had worked with Tracy on things, and so we have a lot of loaned pieces from a lot of collections, and we have a lot of some of his really important pieces. We have the Darwin piece, which is quite beautiful, and we have the Third Ward Archive, which was his piece for the Project Row houses, and we have the Freedman's Field, which is a really, really beautiful piece that is a collection of things that Tracy found on his daily walks to what was later found to be the Freedman's Field. And so it's a table, and it's a setting made from objects found, and so it's basically a mosaic on a tabletop.
So,
really gorgeous.
We'll back up a little bit. What was Tracy Hicks known for primarily, or was there any one thing?
Well, Tracy Hicks had a interest in merging science and art and philosophy and preserving of ideas. And he was really a collaborative artist too. He worked with a lot of people on different projects. It's like the Project Row House piece that he did. He went down and took up his residency there and distributed disposable cameras to people in the neighborhood, mostly kids, and they went out and they photographed and brought back information about their world that's worth preserving. And so they developed the film and went through and then put the photographs in jars, and they're like placed on a set of shelves. And I sent a picture, so that's probably one of the things cycling through.
Oh yeah, yeah, we'll be showing some of the images.
That's a lot like his Storehouse piece, which was down at the DMA when they used to have that encounter series, which was really exciting. That piece was really, really beautiful. It would be nice if we had all of that, although I don't think our ceiling's tall enough for it. But
I remember seeing that.
Yeah, that was such a gorgeous piece. It was just a freestanding storehouse built out of walls that were just the jars and sheets of glass to hold them up, and then it displayed in a pitch black room, and it was just lit, so it was just these beautiful glowing jars, and it was
so
kind of magical.
I guess the jars are like preserving things.
Yeah, like in the same way that you would preserve your peaches or whatever your grandmother's cellar full of tomatoes and things that you might not want to ever eat. And I do recommend that you eat your tomatoes; they're delicious. But in the same way that you would preserve, doing canning for preserving, like he's putting ideas inside of jars and different concepts inside of jars. One of his pieces is like a constitution preserved in resin, and then he has the two flag pieces, which are sort of, a similar idea, like, a flag is a symbol of a state or whatever, and quite often the symbol gets a higher value than the concepts, such as, like, there's a lot of people who really would be livid when they see, oh, you've got a American flag cut up and put into a couple of hundred jars.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
So, it conveys a suite of ideas that, like, the concept behind the flag is far more superior than the flag itself. The flag is just how you convey that idea in a glance to other people, but also a flag, it's not the same thing to everybody. And so, some people worship their flags. They have a whole fetish society of how to dispose of a flag properly. And there's, the flag is, it's really just the way that you can see from across the street where you are, not it's not the altar that you should worship. More important is like the Constitution and those things. And then more important than the Constitution is the persons that the Constitution is supposed to protect. So his work conveys that in a subtle, not over the head beating way. So that's that piece.
So it's, in a sense, he's preserving, parts of the ideas of, I guess, what the flag is representing, and kind of putting it in bite-sized containers, more or less.
I think that's 100% of one of the techniques that he's using to show what's important. Like equally is that Friedman's Field piece, which is really gorgeous. It's just, there's pieces of iron, there's broken toys, there's broken plates, broken bottles, and they're just assembled in a way that it creates a setting for 4 people. And they're things that belong to people who are all dead and people who had been marginalized during their life. And so here's a little piece of a memorial that says they existed 100% and they're of equal value to be remembered as any other person whose name you would know, as opposed to names you don't know.
Were they collected at Friedman's Field, right before it was built? Or?
His studio was down there, so he used to walk his dog and just pick up stuff. And I don't know 100% that at the time that he moved there, he knew that Friedman's Field was that was Friedman's Field,
right?
And that it would later, be. Yeah. I know that we learned an awful lot when we started to expand the Central and dug through, there's a bunch of people here.
But progress.
Yeah. So it's just the things that he found on his walks. That he had a dog. He had to walk his dog every day a couple of times, which is, if you've got a field, that's an ideal thing.
And so that's for anyone that doesn't know. Oh my gosh, that's a no-no. For anyone that doesn't know, Friedman's Field is in Uptown by City Place off Central Expressway, like a mile from downtown Dallas. And that area now is basically all retail and high-rises and kind of glossy and shiny. But it was a
small area towards the back where there's a monument.
Yeah.
I believe some of the graves are still there.
Yeah, and it's so I guess that was in order to kind of make right for plowing through it.
Yeah.
But that area, that was, I guess, an early example of gentrification here in Dallas.
Yeah.
So, but in any case, so that
a mid-career gentrification.
Mid-career gentrification, yes. True. So this is at the Spin Gallery right now.
Yes.
And is it assembled as it was initially, or?
One of the really wonderful things about Tracy Hicks' work is that some things have specific order, such as the flags. All of those jars are numbered and they go in that order. And then some things are to be assembled by the installer. And the Friedman Field piece, I had a lot of help from a lot of volunteers, and hopefully I will not forget each of them. But Linda Wise.
Oh, so is this, okay, so what's this piece here?
That's part of the storehouse piece.
And so we'll talk about frogs in a minute. I think the Friedman's Field is this, right?
No, Friedman's Field is that table.
Oh, it's the table. Yeah, okay, gotcha.
So, but the Friedman's Field piece and the Darwin piece, those are 2 pieces that are open to interpretation by the installer. And there was a retrospective of his work in Corsicana not too long ago, and I took a look, consulting with Greg Metz, who is our curator, and Ron Seibler, who is also co-curator, and he was really instrumental in like getting the work together. And they were both good friends with Tracy Hicks, and Ron had helped Tracy with many installations. So I spoke with him quite a bit, and you know, he told me that 100% that you do not have to be faithful to these installations. Specifically with the Darwin piece, which is a really beautiful, I think, poetic piece. The first couple of times that it was installed, it was a tower.
Yeah.
And so the art gallery is broader, and the Corsicana place is broader, and so it's more of a ranch style.
Nice.
We have it laid out longer because the gallery wouldn't accommodate it being tall. And so it has an iron scaffold work that you build, and then you attach things to it, and they go off in different directions. And so it's a really beautiful metaphor about evolution. It's like there are things that are, you know, the major, you know, skeletal structure of the piece is predictable, and then the tangents are unpredictable, and you can actually alter the structure because it's like a giant erector set. It's, you know, poles and connectors, and we take them in whichever direction that we like. We had in mind to structural stability while putting it together, but it allows a lot of variation, and that's.
So it's interesting, I guess, like laid out that way, it's kind of like a landscape or like a timeline or something.
Yeah, a little, but it's still like the structure with the arms that go off in different directions, and so, and then in the same way that that was open to interpretation of the installer, the Freedman's Field has been installed in different formations before, but we try to keep it very faithful to the way it was installed in Corsicana, and my friend Linda White's spent 20 hours installing it.
Oh, wow.
So it's a lot of little pieces.
So how many jars are in the Darwin piece?
Oh, that's not a good question.
You wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Hundreds?
Well, for the pieces that I have in the window, there are, I guess, 90 in each window.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because, yeah, I have 3 stacks of 3, and they're 10 each, so, yeah.
And there's a frog in every jar?
There's something in every jar.
Okay. So, what was do you know what the fascination was with frogs?
The fascination with frogs is his concern about global warming and climate change, that amphibians are, you know, sort of an alerting species, like a canary species, that like they're very susceptible to environmental change. So they in real time show evolution, like they have to adapt because they, you know, they breed in water, so whatever we put in the water affects their breeding, and that could make them change quickly. And they're also, you know, they're delicate. They have a suite of spaces that they can exist, and once it becomes just 1 or 2 degrees too hot for them, they can't be there anymore, and they have to move on, or else they have some new predator who thrives just a little bit better in that 2 degrees and eats them all.
Oh,
So
wow. And so, like, probably every pond has slightly different frogs.
Yeah, just like every neighborhood.
Well, this is true. Okay. So, and then with the Freedman's piece, I'm not going to ask how many there are, but
Well, I can tell you that.
well, how many are there?
No, I can't
Oh,
tell
you
you
can't.
that.
Okay. But all these works were kept together.
Yes, we do have pieces that were loaned from individuals, and I don't know how many of them want to be announced.
Right.
So, but the bulk of the show we've had in our custody because we knew we were going to do a show. We just didn't have it scheduled for a while. And then they belong to Tracy's family. So after the show, we'll be working with them to decide
What happens next?
Yeah, what goes to which member, and that will be a fun experience.
How long did
There's
it
a
take
lot of
to get everything together?
Well, we've been working on the show for a couple of months over the summer, installing it, and you know, the Project Row House piece, the Third Ward Archive, that was still down at Project Row House, so I went down there and picked it up a few weeks ago.
And so Project Row House is in Houston, and it was a project by Rick Lowe, probably 10 years ago? Kind of bringing art into, the Third Ward, right?
Yeah. And that is an ongoing project. It's still, people are still doing residencies there and doing installations. And the next suite of installations there, I believe, is on September the 10th.
Okay. And his has been there since it was initially installed?
Display.
Oh, okay.
Like, I think those stay up for a year. And then, so they were in a storage space that they keep.
So that's a really cool project. So it was very collaborative with the community. Did you have a chance to talk to anybody that was involved in it initially?
I spoke to a few people on the phone, and then when I went down there, I met their new facilities person named Candy, who was delightful, and she went with me to the storage. We met at the storage unit.
Okay.
And, she was really, really wonderful, and she dressed really well. I'm like, oh, you're not moving that forklift. No, there were people there to do the forklift stuff.
How is everything stored?
Well, I had the pieces that I got were on 2 pallets, which was great because I was prepared to spend a day of picking up boxes and crying, and there were 2 pallets. They put them onto the truck, and that was really nice.
And so there were just objects in boxes?
Well, yeah. I mean, they're jars. There's like a dozen jars in a box, and then however many boxes to fill a pallet, and then they're wrapped like as if you were sending it for
Okay, so that's not too hard.
Yeah, that part was really easy.
Nice. So how long is the show up?
The show's up until November 10th.
November 10th. And is there a reception?
Yeah, September the 9th.
September the 9th. That's a Sunday, right? Okay.
4 to 6.
From 4 to 6. And everyone's invited?
Yes.
Awesome.
Everybody and their friends.
And their friends?
Yes.
That's very generous. So where is the Spin Gallery exactly?
The Spin Gallery is at 3020 Stewart Drive, which we're on the very north end of the UTD campus.
It's a gorgeous space.
Yeah, it's really nice. Many of the pictures show some of the gallery. And yeah, it's a really, really nice space. It's versatile. It has 2 big galleries and a small gallery, and we have walls that we can move around to really custom arrange the space for whatever we're going to show.
What type of programming do you generally have?
Well, we've had really good shows. We've had good curated shows. We have our MFA shows, and we have a show that we do every year, which is with the TVAA, the high school art competition.
Okay.
So we host its exhibit. The TVA does it, and we help round up the jurors. And so we get 3 jurors, and they don't have to have connection to UTD. Often they do, and they have to be
somewhat savvy.
Artists professionals in the area, and usually it's a gallerist, curator, working artist.
When is that show?
That is in the beginning of the spring
Okay.
semester, so it's like the first thing that we do. And it's a lot of art.
Oh, really? Like how many students participate?
This year, the first one that I did, which was at the beginning of the last spring semester, was there were like 1,500 submissions, and we hung 149 pieces.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's almost as big as Chaos.
I mean, yeah.
No.
How many pieces do you have in Chaos?
I think we've got over 200 because we've got 135 artists, but I'm sure that you've left a little more room to breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Though it's pretty tight. Kids start working big early.
Yeah, they do. Bigger is better.
Yeah.
So there's a winner every year?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's like best of show, first, second, and third as far as best of shows. Then there's for different types. There's best painting, sculpture. I think is there a ceramics award, and then there's a suite of dean's awards, and then there's a couple of sponsored awards. So
cool.
It's nice.
And so you do MFA shows, so it's kind of sort of taken the place of Central Track a little bit, which was UT's artist residency.
Yeah.
In that respect, at least. Yeah. Cool. Well, let's talk about your art.
Okay.
Because so you're primarily printmaker. That's your.
I have a degree in printmaking.
You have a degree in printmaking.
And I use it sometimes.
You do, and you're influenced by lots of things, including Japanese art.
Yeah, I do love Japanese art.
What do you like? What do you like about it?
I love the elegant, clean, efficient line. Because I'm not elegant, clean, or efficient, but I do like a nice, elegant, clean, efficient line. And yeah, I like. It's nearly minimal, but not painful.
Right.
I mean, I do like. I like minimalism, and I like Rococo, and I try to merge them in my art.
You actually do a fairly good job of that. That's pretty minimal. Yeah, and then that's a little Rococo. So you don't shy away from sexuality.
No, that's how we got here.
It is. So what? In these images, this is from your last show at Row 2, and that was it was about a wedding. Well, it was the honeymoon, more or less.
Yeah. The book is the wedding gift.
The wedding gift, yeah.
And I mean the models in the suite of drawings that came to prints, they had just got married, and so no, I haven't bound the book yet. I'm still gonna make a few more prints. Yeah, they had just gotten married. I mean, they knew each other for quite some time.
So you thought you could find like true unbridled.
Yeah. I mean, even,
ecstasy.
I assume that even if you have known each other for a long time and you get married, there's a resurgence of excitement, of discovery and the like. And so the way that I went about making these pictures is that my friends were going off to teach English in Japan, and I was working at Central Track, and I was really, really busy, and we kept not lining up a time to do the photo shoot. So I sent a bunch of stick figures to. You didn't turn that off.
I know.
Airplane mode. I sent a suite of stick figures to my friend and the former director of Central Track, Hyde Fontenot, and he shot the pictures for me. And so then I drew from the the photographs because my friends were going to go to Japan, and it was just not going to work out that I would be able to be there to take the pictures.
So you sent stick figure drawings to another artist friend who then choreographed the scenes based on your stick figures?
These are really nice stick figures.
Wow. So were the images about what you expected?
Oh, yeah, and it was kind of really beautiful because since I didn't take the pictures, I get to see them for the first time as like ooh, and they were like really beautiful and funny because, I mean, I asked for like, you know, ridiculous, like what you don't normally do while having sex. Like, yeah, let me put my toe in your mouth. I mean, some people.
And that one's called Toe Lunch. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I just like, you know, sex is a ridiculous thing. People
do it.
It's ridiculous that people have a problem that it exists, and it's also, you know, it's comic relief. Like, you know, could you imagine having a life without the option of having sex?
Some people
choose that.
Yeah, I guess.
That's fine.
Yeah. And
let them.
So you revisit that a lot, but that's also a theme in a lot of Japanese art too. So I mean, it really does work. What are you working on next?
Next. Well, currently I'm studio assisting for Brian Jones for his show, and then after that we're going to be working on our show for the Galveston Art Center. Dennis Nitz has invited us to have a show.
Congratulations.
In June.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
So us being Chuck and George, you and Brian Jones, and you guys have been making art together for how long?
Like 27 years, since 1990.
Wow.
28 years.
And it started out kind of as almost a prank.
Yeah. We were in classes at North Texas, and there's a lot of work that we didn't like. And specifically, a lot of work that we didn't like from students who acted as if they were forced to take art classes. And I thought, well, I'm almost certain your mother would rather you be a doctor, something that pays. And, like, if it hurts you that much to make that awful stuff, why don't you stop?
So you would basically make fun of their art by during their critiques. Yeah, but it worked. It's still going on.
Our rule was so this started in the great Henry Whidden's drawing studio class, which was a morning class, and so the way that class went was that we had critiques in the beginning of class, and then the second hour we drew the model, and so whoever got there first could put up their work anonymously. And so we would walk to school and pick stuff up along the way, and we would assemble these things that we found. That was the rule from our apartment to the school. We could pick up whatever we chose to and make a collage on the wall, and that was art. And but it was really good.
Yeah. Well, and you've been exhibiting in art centers all over the country since then. So, and then you're known for your Halloween party. So everyone put that on your calendars.
It's a big secret.
Oh, never mind. Don't. There's nothing going on. So, and Brian Jones's show is on September the 15th at Row 2 Art. It's called Spin, Burn, Repeat. And it's a reprise, sort of his Meanwhile Back in Dallas show in 2013, where he played, he painted himself as Big Tex burning in 48 paintings to make a video at 24 frames per second. It was wildly successful. So the expectations are really high. No, it's going to be great. So we're looking forward to that, and I'm glad you're helping him. So September 15th, he'll be opening with Alex Paulus from Memphis, and then also Alexander Revier has an installation called Happiness is a Warm Happiness. Nice. And Alex Paulus's show is Trophy Life. it's going to be quite an evening.
Yeah.
I was going to do a video of chaos,
Mm-hmm.
as we wrap up. We did one last week and the week before, and we'll do one next week. I've got, some kind of somber news. We talked about this earlier today. A dear friend and member of the gallery family, Kyler Etheridge, passed away this morning. She was a larger-than-life person. You hear that a lot, but I mean, if you were to look up vivacious in the dictionary, I think she would be there. She was a professor for a large part of her life, and upon retirement, pursued her desire to become an artist, and studied all over town under artists that she admired, and developed a really unique style of her own. And it was really nice to be a part of that. And she learned she had cancer earlier in the year, and it was tough. And a lot of people are going to miss her. I want to go ahead and end with a video of some of Kyler's paintings over the last several years, and we'll kind of part with that. So I hope you guys enjoy the montage.